Hello, and welcome to the ALCSI podcast, where we share the stories of lung cancer patients and their caregivers, as well as the work of doctors and researchers in the field. Today, we have the great honor and privilege of having Judy Noble with us. In October 2018, at the age of 53, Judy received a life-altering diagnosis of inoperable advanced non-small cell lung cancer, specifically adenocarcinoma stage 3B, known as a Pancoast tumor. After multiple doctors initially misdiagnosed her condition as a pinched nerve in her neck, an MRI revealed the shocking news of her lung cancer diagnosis. Judy's MRI revealed a tumor in her right upper lobe, larger than a baseball, which had caused her year-long pain by pressing against the brachial plexus nerve center. Unfortunately, the tumor was too close to her trachea for surgical removal, and the initial prognosis offered little hope beyond pain management through medication. After undergoing 35 radiation treatments concurrently with 24 chemotherapy sessions using Cisplatin and Etoposide, Judy underwent a year of immunotherapy with Imfinzi. In November 2021, Judy underwent a wedge resection to remove a new small tumor in her right middle lobe. Fortunately, pathology results indicated that it was a new local primary tumor and not a recurrence of the original stage 3 adenocarcinoma, meaning it had not progressed to stage 4 metastatic cancer. This outcome marked a significant victory, as there was no evidence of disease. Judy is not only a lung cancer survivor, she is also an advocate and volunteer who strives to inspire others with her story of resilience and hope. Judy, we're so honored to have you on our podcast today, so thank you so much for your time. And to introduce the moderators today, my name is Pancoast.
And my name is Anish Gugalam, and we're with the American Lung Cancer Screening Initiative, a national 501c3 nonprofit working to raise awareness of lung cancer and lung cancer screening. To get started, Judy, could you please share with us what your lung cancer journey has looked like so far?
Well, in the beginning, it was just devastation. To get that phone call at work saying I had lung cancer. I honestly didn't know what to do. Shocked, angry, scared, confused. I didn't know what to do. To this day, I never remember telling my husband, which that goes to show you what your brain can do. It shuts down. And I don't think I was really given hope. The next day when I went to the pulmonologist's office, I'm sitting there and I see the poster, and the poster shows 15% survivor rate after 5 years. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, wow. Tears are going down my eyes, and I'm looking at my husband, not understanding, just complete devastation. Unfortunately, I was a smoker, so I had to deal with that, and I had to understand the process. What do I do? How do I continue? Am I going to survive this? 5 years, that's not a long time. So I just went through a whirlwind of tests and doctor's appointments and MRIs and CAT scans and I can't think of the word. The pulmonologist did the bronchoscopy. I woke up during that. Right in the procedure, and it was just devastating. And it was just, so many things going on simultaneously, and I didn't understand. And I was too embarrassed to tell anybody because I didn't want to hear, well, you were a smoker. Did you really not think you were going to get lung cancer? No, I never thought I would get lung cancer. I've known smokers. I've never known a smoker personally in my life that got lung cancer. And so when I was diagnosed, I was like, wow, this is just an adventure that I do not want to be on, but I had to. So I went through all of my treatments. Honestly, I don't know how I survived. But now I can truly understand why when you hear somebody say, well, I'm not going to go through chemo. And I've always thought to myself, well, why wouldn't you want to go through chemo? That's going to save your life, or it's going to prolong it. It's going to help in some way. Well, after going through chemo, I understood. The horrible, I mean, it's just poison, right? It's straight poison going through your body. I didn't know how I was going to survive. But hey, look, I'm here. It's almost 5 years later. It's been a journey, and I'll just keep moving forward and doing what I can.
Wow, I can't imagine what it must have been like to receive, your diagnosis, Judy. And I don't think anyone is ever prepared or thinks that they will receive, a diagnosis so big, like one of lung cancer. And I think a lot of what you touched upon, added to that experience, and probably that whirlwind that you talked about. And especially that you weren't given a lot of hope. You mentioned that your cancer was initially, deemed inoperable, as advanced non-small cell lung cancer. And on top of that, the unfortunate stigma that still exists around lung cancer and smoking. And a lot of patients have shared with us that they, felt, especially initially, a sense of shame and guilt about sharing their lung cancer diagnosis, especially if they had a smoking history. And that's something that our organization focuses a lot on, is trying to address and remove the stigma around lung cancer, because while smoking is one of the primary risk factors for a lung cancer, a lot of individuals who don't smoke can also get lung cancer. And in fact, it's around 10 to 20% of individuals who get lung cancer have never smoked. And so I think it's really important to raise awareness that you don't have to, you just have to have lungs to get lung cancer, and you don't need to have a smoking history. And really, whether someone smokes or didn't smoke doesn't really matter when talking about lung cancer. And so I think we still have a long ways to go in terms of fighting that stigma, but it's definitely something that we really focus on in our outreach and in our advocacy. And so one thing that we wanted to ask was, in what ways did your life change after being diagnosed with lung cancer? Did your perspective on life change? Did your planning change in any way? Did your priorities change? What did that look like after receiving your diagnosis?
I think after receiving the diagnosis and seeing that poster on my pulmonologist wall, I think I shut down. I really did. Because in my mind, and even knowing, just in past history, if you hear somebody that had lung cancer, there was no hope for you. I mean, there was just no hope. So I think I know I shut down. I tried to do the best that I could to prepare, because the doctors did say this is going to be a very aggressive treatment. You need to prepare your body. And so immediately I went off on short-term disability. I was stuck in my bubble. I did not go to the internet. I did not do any search. I did not seek any help from any organizations. I just stayed within my bubble, and I shut down. And the only person I was there was my husband. It took me a long time to tell my family and my husband's family. I didn't want to say anything to my company. So everything for me, I was just stuck in a bubble. My life was get up in the morning, take a shower, get carried over to the hospital, have my treatments, and come home. And then sit on the couch all day long because I had no energy. I lost weight. I couldn't eat. I cried. Oh my God, did I cry? I cry. They tell you you're going to lose your hair. And I didn't care about my hair because I had very short hair. So for weeks and weeks and weeks, I still had my hair, and I was like, wow. And they're like, well, that's really weird because people do lose their hair in this treatment. And then all of a sudden, here's my hair coming out. And I was amazed at how devastated I was. And I couldn't understand because I'm like, I didn't care if I lost my hair. I cared about living. But here I am crying about losing my hair. And it was devastating to me. And to this day, I don't know why. Maybe it was the chemo, because you get chemo brain. I don't know. So I went through that whole process. And then I had a new oncologist, and I went to their office and I saw this flyer, and it said something about lung cancer initiative, a walk, took a picture. Months and months later, I went back on my phone and I saw that picture and I said, oh, that walk is coming up in September. I'm going to see if I can do this. I'm going to see if I can handle this, right? I mean, because again, I'm on this journey alone. I had nobody but my husband. Some family, some friends, very few. And I just was so stuck in that bubble. Went to this walk, and I was amazed at the kindness and the care that Lung Cancer Initiative provided for me. All the other survivors, I got to meet other survivors. So that day I said, the bubble's popped. I don't have to live in this bubble anymore. And I think we all have to figure out our journeys because we're all on different journeys. And as I continue to learn, and I had no clue how many different types of cancer there are. I'm just blown away. I mean, you're a smoker, you have cancer, and then learning that's not the case. So now I volunteer. I'm an advocate. I do what I can. Of course, you see the white ribbon. So I'm going to do a build here next month. Looking so forward to it. And I'm just trying to live every day as I can. Try not to focus on what has happened. But when I come to my scans, I have no choice. I will have scanxiety because that's, I think, what we all go through. So yeah, that's it.
I just want to say, Judy, I think the thing you said at the end is a great mantra just for life in general. Just take each day as its own and just be happy and try to be as positive as possible. That's awesome to hear. Judy, can you talk a little bit more about what treatment options you had throughout the entire process?
As far as options, I mean, I don't think I had options. It was, this is what you're going to do. I didn't seek, again, I couldn't accept. I could not accept that I had lung cancer. So what do you do if you don't accept that? I just went on what my doctor said to go to this pulmonologist, right? And then the pulmonologist said, well, I want you to go over to Duke Raleigh, and I want you to meet with the surgeon. And then when I met with the surgeon, that was devastating for me because when I heard the surgeon say, well, had you come to me 6 months prior, we could have operated. What? Well, if I'd known 6 months prior, I would have been there. So they told me, this is the doctors that you're going to see. This is the radiologist. So I didn't question anything because, again, I still can't accept that I have lung cancer. So I never questioned anything. I don't think things were explained properly to me. Now, I don't know if it's because I was a smoker and not because I've heard different stories from different people now. So now that I reflect back on what I went through and what I was told to do, and I didn't question it. I'm like, well, you're the doctors, you're the specialist, you're going to tell me, right? I'm not going to seek out something else or a second opinion. I mean, like, I like cancer. Again, I didn't do any research. Whether that was good or bad on my part doesn't matter. It's just I didn't have the brain cells to do that. So I did my treatments. and of course, at the same time, radiation and 2 different chemos, the etoposide and the cisplatin, which unfortunately, the cisplatin, I got the side effect of having neuropathy in my hands and my feet. So I'm going to live with that the rest of my life. There's nothing we can do about it. I've accepted that because I have to. I can't dwell on it, because then what kind of life is that if you dwell on something that you have no control over? So I deal with that. And then, of course, during the treatment, you hear from the doctor things that could go wrong, and you hope and pray that it doesn't go wrong. Oh, and then I had the Imfinzi, which was a year of immunotherapy, which I did really good on. I was very, very proud of my body to allow this immunotherapy to work its magic, which I think it did, because I'm here. But then I think, well, did it like miss something because I got the second cancer? Which, in my mind, it was like, well, then Imfinzi should have stopped it, but for whatever reason, that little booger creeped up, and here we go. But I did awesome on that, and I'm here. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how I made it, because it was so brutal. I mean, it was such a brutal treatment, but I'm here, and I'm gonna do what I can to stay here.
Yeah, congratulations, Judy. A lot of patients have just told us how the toll that chemotherapy, immunotherapy, radiation can take on the body, and I'm sure it took a lot to be able to withstand all of the maybe hurdles and roadblocks that you might have experienced throughout that entire process. And so related to that, actually, we wanted to ask, what are some strategies that you use to maybe get through particularly difficult times following your diagnosis and during treatment? And in particular, were there any strategies that you think would be helpful for other cancer patients who may be listening?
Well, like all the nurses, which Duke Raleigh, the nurses were just, I mean, these beautiful people just really helped me through this process. One of the things that they instilled into me was that you have to get out of the house. You have to socialize. You must socialize. You must go out. You must do things. And even though I tried and my husband tried, I think, unfortunately, because for me, the treatments were so brutal that I couldn't. I wish I could have, because I think that's so important for a lung cancer person to go out into our community. Don't do the mistake that I did, where I just stayed locked in my bubble. But you know what? I don't regret that. That's how I handled it. But for anybody coming new into it, everybody's going to have their own journey, and you have to figure out how to get past it. Keep going. Laughter, that's the one thing. Every once in a while, if I hear or see something that would make me laugh, that just put me into such a great state of mind. So I could definitely laughter, absolutely. Just go out and sit in the park and enjoy the scenery. Don't sit at home like I did and not do anything, because it is devastating. And then I had my husband. I mean, thank God for him. I don't know how I would get through any of this. And yeah.
Judy, I know earlier you mentioned that when you first received your diagnosis and earlier in the process, you kind of struggled to talk to people about your diagnosis and express your opinions about it. But now, like, we're so honored to have you on our podcast and for you to share your story so publicly. What's motivating you now to share your story so publicly and be so confident about it and brave?
I think because honestly, I don't care what people think about me. if you have that negative condensation about me being, or I was a smoker, that's you, right? So I'm not going to let anybody dictate how I feel anymore, because that pushed me for many years, that I allowed that to happen, because I was always concerned about, well, what is she going to say about me? What is he going to say about, oh, she's a smoker. And it was very devastating for me. I mean, I had to go through that. I didn't need anybody else having to push that in behind the scenes. I didn't want anybody talking about that. Now it's like, go for it. If you just go for it. I'm here for anything and anybody. If you need guidance, if you need assistance, if you, like, I do volunteer work for the Lung Cancer Initiative. I do their walks. I help on their gala. So whatever these little things that I can do. I even have been called by other survivors saying, hey, we got a new lung cancer person. Can you talk to them? Absolutely. Hey, Heidi, right? Everybody knows Heidi. She contacted me and said, hey, I've got somebody in North Carolina that wants a white ribbon. How, what's your location from this person? So it's about 50 minutes. And she's like, well, that's too far. I'm like, no, I'll do it. Of course I will. Because I know what it's like, right? I'm a lung cancer survivor. I know what it's like to have that devastating phone call. And I went, I delivered it, and the gentleman, he was kind of taken back, because he's like, my wife wanted me to have this, and I really don't know what this is. But now he's part of our community. We've encouraged him to get a second opinion, because we thought, yeah, your treatments are not good. You need a second opinion. So he went and got a second opinion, and lo and behold, he's out positive. The first doctor didn't tell him that. So, that's what I try to do. I mean, I don't want to instill myself into your personal business. I don't want to do that. But I do want to be there if you need anything. If you need a white ribbon, if you need to talk, if you need to go out for coffee, lunch, dinner, a movie, doesn't matter. So whatever I can do, I'm going to be there for the lung cancer community. And of course, to the caregivers, everybody forgets about the caregivers. They have to be strong for us, right? They can't break down. They can't cry. They can't say, oh my God, I'm going to lose my spouse. It's just, you can't do that. So I understand from both sides, because I know what I went through, and I definitely can see what my husband went through. So yeah, there you go.
Thank you so much, Judy. We really admire your efforts in the lung cancer community. And I think this would be a great opportunity to ask you this, but would you be able to share a little bit more about the details of the White Room Build that you're hosting in a month, just for anyone who may be listening and who's in the area who is able to join? And also, this was a question we had later on, but I think this is a great time. Could you also share how people can connect with you, either through social media or any sort of other network that you're a part of?
Sure. So, matter of fact, Heidi, she had contacted me, and because I've been wanting to do a bill, but I haven't done one yet. So she contacted me and said, hey, are you up for it? And I'm like, oh, I really don't know. Because I was just nervous about getting everything together. And I've attended a build before, but I was just nervous about doing it on my own. So thought about it, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. The way that came about, I participated with the local craft YMCA. They have a 12-week free program for, it's the Triangle YMCA. It's a free program for cancer survivors, or if you've just been diagnosed with cancer, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of cancer you have. So you attend this program for 12 weeks. It's a fantastic program. And one of the gentlemen, we were talking about the build, and he's like, well, you know what, send me the information, and I'm going to see if the Y can sponsor it. I was like, oh, that would be nice, right? Because I don't have the facility to do it. So the Y said, yep, we can do it for you. And I was like, oh, now I got to go get the supplies. So I was all excited. So I went over to Lowe's Home Improvement, And the gentleman there, he was just fantastic. Donated the lumber, the paint, the gloves, the rollers. I mean, everything. He donated everything. So I said, this is going to be an awesome bill. So I got the Craft YMCA that's allowing us to use their facilities. I've got all the materials. Heidi provided the labels. And then there's another lady out in Wake Forest. She provided leftover supplies from her bill. So that's going to be on October 14th at the Craft YMCA in Apex, North Carolina. We're going to post it on the WISE website, I'm hoping within the next couple of days. And then I recently just posted on my Instagram account that we're having this. And then in the next several days, I'm going to go ahead and contact all my local survivors here in my area and ask that they go ahead and attend our bill. So I am so excited.
Wonderful. Thank you, Judy. And how can people connect with you if they have any questions as well?
So they can connect with me through my Instagram account, and I can give you that. So I'm Judy L.A.Noble. That's my Instagram. So anybody can connect me through Instagram. I'm on Facebook, but I don't tend to check Facebook too much. I'm more of an Instagram person.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Judy. The White Ribbon Build sounds really awesome. And for anyone who may not know about the White Ribbon Project, the White Ribbon Project is also a national and does builds internationally, but a nonprofit organization that is focused on making white ribbons. These are wooden 2 foot by 4 foot ribbons that are painted and signed and labeled lung cancer awareness. These builds are community events for both patients and just general community members. So, families, doctors, anyone who wants to be involved in advocacy for lung cancer. And these ribbons are often, given to recently diagnosed lung cancer patients or caregivers or anyone who's affected by lung cancer. And they really are symbols of, unity and hope. As Judy was saying, oftentimes lung cancer patients aren't given a lot of hope, but the field has come a long way and treatments have come a long way in the last 20 years. And so I think what the White Ribbon Build is doing in helping to build this community of survivors, of caregivers, of lung cancer advocates in general is so key to communicating this new hope that we do have within the community. And so the White Ribbon Project was founded by Heidi and Pierre Anda. Heidi was a stage 3 lung cancer survivor, and it was just very frustrated that there weren't a lot of efforts happening within her community in Colorado, Denver, Colorado, to support lung cancer patients in the area. And so she, out of that frustration, just asked her husband, Pierre, to build her a big white ribbon that she could put on the outside of her door to tell people that, she has lung cancer. And so that was the first ribbon. And the anniversary of the first ribbon is actually coming up on September 27th. And so since then, it's been a couple of years since the White Ribbon Project has been founded, but it's, just grown, and they've been able to, share ribbons across all of the states as well as internationally, in Vienna and India, in a variety of different countries. So it's just an amazing nonprofit if for anyone who hasn't heard about it or would like to learn more about it. So thank you, Judy. We're really excited about your White Ribbon build, and hope it goes very well.
Thank you. So one other thing, I was actually on Instagram and I happened to see this post by this woman. And I'm reading her information and I said, well, wait a minute. And I said, she was diagnosed on the exact same day I was. So that's my connection, right, to Heidi. Not only, this White Ribbon Build, but she and I were diagnosed on the exact same month, day, and year over the phone. So I have a personal in my heart connection to Heidi. So yeah, she's been a big influence in my life. Chris Draft has also been a huge influence in my life, and many other people, right? I have so many people that I do look up to, and I seek their guidance. And I just, my heart is so big for so many people right now. And I just want to continue doing what I can for the lung cancer community, because, we need the funding. We need more research. There's so many things that we need. And I've always said, I wish I knew an influencer that, has millions of followers that can just get the word out even more, because we need it. But I'm going to continue to do what I can and make the awareness out there.
That's awesome. Judy, we're just gonna shift gears a little here, but what advice do you have for someone who's newly diagnosed with lung cancer?
It's okay to be angry. It's okay to cry. Be pissed off at the world. You've been giving a horrible diagnosis. However, you're going to start a new journey. With what has happened within the medical community, it's just phenomenal. They have come so far. I'm coming up on my first 5 years, right, in October. I didn't think I would be here. You have to fight every day. Just continue on that journey, because it's going to continue to get better. We have more people out there that are fighting for us. The foundation testing, I didn't know what that was when I was first diagnosed. I had it retested like 3 years later to understand, right? Because again, I didn't know what this ALK positive and this ROS and this EGFR, and I mean, there's so many different types of lung cancer, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, I just assumed that if you were a smoker, and that's not true. And then I was told by the doctors that even though I was a smoker, it didn't matter. I was still going to end up with lung cancer, and I'm like, really? Didn't know that. So that was a shocker. But just continue on your journey, continue to fight. It's okay to be pissed. It's okay to be angry. You can cry, you can scream, you can yell. It's okay. Get it out of your system. You have every right to do that. And then just go ahead and find whatever help you can, because I think that is so important. Just get the help that you need. Doesn't matter how you do it, or internet, talking to people, going to your church, going to your job, wherever. Just go get whatever guidance and help that you can. So that's what I have.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you, Judy. And so now we received a couple of questions from our listeners, and so we'll ask those now. And so our first question is, where specifically would you, Judy, like to see the most progress within lung cancer advocacy?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think it's a hard question, because there's so much, right? There's so many things out there that we can go for. I think maybe for me, because I was the smoker, we need to get this insurance approval for these low dose CT scans. We have to do it. For all the other folks out there that get diagnosed, they're diagnosed at stage 4. So that's a heartbreak, right? We got to figure out how to get more funding. We got to figure out the funding. And I mean, I'm not a computer person, but this AI stuff, I'm so excited about that, because I'm like, man, I'm looking forward to the AI trying to figure out how to help us lung cancer folks. So yeah.
So just another question. Do you have any advice for people looking to get involved in the lung cancer community?
So look in your local areas for if you have a lung cancer group. I'm very fortunate here in my area that we have 2. that are very, very actively involved within their communities. Even if you can't find one in your local area, then still find something within your state. And then if not, look what we have right here, ALCSI, right? Go to these locations and find help and read their websites and see what they have. And then they can give you guidance on where to find help, right? And get involved and do whatever you can. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree, Judy. I think for anyone who is wanting to get involved with lung cancer advocacy, just finding the organizations that are near you, and asking them how you can get involved. Oftentimes they have events planned, galas planned, and these organizations always need help, and so there's I'm sure there'll always be opportunities to get involved with just the local organizations near you. And our last question, Judy, is what are you looking forward to most in the next few months?
Wow. For me personally, I am so the one thing that I wanted to do after I went through my treatments is I wanted to go to Alaska. This is what I wanted to do. But then, COVID hit, and especially being lung cancer survivors, we have to stay away from everybody. We have to wear the face mask. We have to be so careful. So I'm going to plan my trip to Alaska, and I'm going to Alaska next year. So I'm going to be on the computer and I'm going to do searching, and I am just so excited to go and enjoy myself, because I've been kind of scared to go out and travel because of the COVID. And I said, yeah, no, I'm going. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm planning my trip to Alaska.
That sounds amazing. Well, Judy, it truly has been a pleasure and an honor to talk with you and learn from the wealth of knowledge and experience you have in the area of cancer advocacy. We truly appreciate all the work you're doing. And thank you to our listeners for joining us on this episode of the ALCSI podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Please keep an eye out for our upcoming podcasts and events, which will be listed on our website, www.alcsi.org. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.